Good morning. I am Steve Weber. Welcome to the American Gumption Morning Show here on Friday, February 12th, 2021. This is show number 126 and grateful to be broadcasting today on the Spirituality Gone Wild network, and along with my other fellow co-host, co-creators, we are on a mission to make the human experience a better experience for all of us. So anyway, this is the American Gumption Morning Show. I'm also broadcasting on American Gumption Facebook page and American Gumption YouTube channel. So welcome to the show today. All righty. Our guest is Dorie Morales. She'll be coming up at about 15 past the hour, and she is the publisher of Green Living magazine. So excited to get into some conscious living and your conscious life and Green Living magazine. We'll talk to Dorie about what that's all about. That's coming up again at 15 past the hour. And then I have got, in the meantime, I'm going to do a monologue. I do a monologue just about every day. But today it's going to be environment is the name of the monologue. So it's going to be my take on some of my feelings about environmental issues and what we can all do to do our part, and my little bit of my perception about the whole thing, and then some of the specific ideas that I have. So that's coming up. Now, before I get to that, let me tell you what's happening next week. So no live show this coming Monday. And my commitment at the beginning of the year was to do at least four or five shows a week, but that gives me one day off, and I'm going away for the weekend. So going up to the Poconos with Brother Ken. So I'll be returning on Monday. So no live broadcast this Monday. Tuesday, Sylvia LaFair joins me. She is the author of the book Gutsy, and she has a stress mastery masterclass that she's offering. So she's a woman who's been involved in leadership and women leadership specifically. And anyway, she's gonna share her wisdom with us on Tuesday. Sylvia LaFair. On Wednesday, Rebecca Glensky-Kopage. She is the author of a brand new book, 100 Days to Self-Love. We all could use a little bit more kindness to ourselves, a little more self-love. And so she's got a book, 100 Days to Self-Love. So we'll explore what that's all about with Rebecca Glensky-Kopage coming on Wednesday. And then Thursday, we have a new regular feature. We're going to try it out. We'll give it a couple months, but every other week, we'll have our own Spirituality Gone Wild's own Serenity Sam joining us for a sing-a-song. So it's going to be called the Sing-a-Song segment with Serenity Sam, and that comes up on Thursday. And that'll be in the second 15-minute section. So from after the monologue until about 10:30, and then we'll have a guest come after that. And Friday, we'll announce what's happening. So main guest still to be announced for Thursday, Friday next week. But Tuesday, Sylvia LaFair, and Wednesday, Rebecca Glensky-Kopage. So that's kind of a fun thing happening next week. And then no live broadcast on Monday. All right, so that's out of the way. Let's go ahead and shift gears, and let's jump into today's topic in preparation for our guest coming up, Dorie Morales, coming up in just a few minutes. All right. So today I titled my monologue Environment, and a little bit of a topic I've never really wanted to address, just because, it always creates such strong feelings. And but here I go. I'm going to just go ahead and lay out what some of my thoughts are. So first thing is, like, I want to live a conscious life. The Green Living magazine and Dorie Morales coming up, their tagline is your conscious life, your conscious life. And so I want to live a conscious life. And I've been working on that the last 10 years. And even before that, I was always, hey, you want to do what the right thing is. And so anyway, I want to live a conscious life, and I want to take responsibility for my thoughts, for my actions, and for my interactions with others. And anybody who's listened to the show, over the last many months knows that is my definition of gumption. Gumption is taking responsibility for your thoughts, for your actions, and for your interactions with others, I say. Now I'm going to add interactions with everything, interactions with our environment. We'll expand that a little bit. So again, I said I live a conscious life. Well, consciousness is an awareness. So really all we're looking at doing is having awareness of how we're thinking, how we're the actions we're taking, and how we're interacting, whether interacting is with other people, which I've always specifically said with Gumption, but in this case, we're going to expand it to be interacting with our environment. All right, so a little bit of a history. I came of age at a time when disposability, greed, worry only about me, and let the other guy fend for himself, or the other gal fend for herself. It was kind of the age that I came of, in the 80s, when I was, a young adult, and, moved to California, and it was just sort of like, hey, everything was plentiful, and, there was no need to worry about, taking, being conserving and reusing things. It was just sort of like, we kind of had an attitude of like, there's a well that we're pulling from, and it's an endless supply. We're just keep pulling and pulling and pulling. So, and that wasn't how I was raised as a child, but as I came, like I said, of age in the 80s, that was sort of the mindset. There was this feeling of great abundance and not have to worry about things. We were like disposable society, and it just didn't matter. If something broke, you get a new one, and use something up. And even if you didn't use it up, you just threw it away and you started all over with a fresh, nice package. Now, simultaneous to all of that, actually before that, because this would have been in the late 70s, global cooling became the big rage. And there was this movement for, people who were like, hey, the planet's cooling down, we got to do something. And then after a while, they kind of changed their tune, because it wasn't cooling down, it was heating up. And so then it became like global warming is suddenly all the rage. And then finally it became climate change, which is what they've settled on for the last, and who's they? Well, I'm not 100% sure, but that's what everybody talks about. But who is they? All right, let me define it a little better. So it's people with a big agenda. It's big government. It's big NGOs. It's like this kind of think tanks, or people who like somehow want to solve this problem. And so that's perfectly fine. And the problem, they say, is like, oh, we got to save the planet. We've got to clean water, clean air. And, that's a pretty worthy goal, clean water and clean air. Absolutely. I don't think anybody disagrees with clean water, clean air. We want an environment that's healthy and healthy for all of us. And so, but it kind of shifted into, if you don't support their grand vision, then you're somehow against clean water or clean air, which is ludicrous. And it's kind of a false argument, because everybody, well, I don't know, I can't say everybody, but most people certainly believe in taking care of the planet and living a healthy life. We want clean air and clean water. And again, if you don't support those things, then you're against, if you don't support their big agenda. So anyway, I thought that was kind of crazy, and it never really resonated with me. You can't argue with it, because like their goal sounds noble. So now let's shift gears a little bit, and we'll talk about the green movement. Came along, I don't know, maybe roughly 20 years ago is what I'm guessing, maybe less than that. But suddenly it was like a way of connecting more with like it was more actionable than climate change, because like, how do you change the climate change? How do you change the climate of the planet? That's a pretty big thing. But green living, okay, we can start to get our head around that. Now, I was a little skeptical, because it was like, well, it feels like a lot of marketing at first. And there was a lot of marketers and companies jumped on the bandwagon. Oh, this is green, this is green, this is green. And again, it was like kind of like, well, what does that mean? What does it mean to be green? And organic? Maybe organic was always around longer than that, but that's another word that came out. And what does that mean? What does it mean when something's organic? And these words, like we all kind of instinctively know what they mean, but the actual definition is a little bit elusive, and other words, natural, environmental friendly, non-toxic, eco-friendly. We became a society that knew all of these words, but we didn't necessarily know what they all meant. And again, instinctively, we all want clean water. We all want clean air. And we certainly don't want to be against any of those things. I don't know anybody who wants to be against those things. So what do we do? Well, we could send these more money to the larger organizations and, hope that they're going to come up with a fix for it all. But that's really not working very well. I think people are getting, very leery of our large organizations and our large in governments saying, hey, this is the answer for it. We're going to fix everything. And, it's just sort of like the problem never gets fixed. It just keeps getting talked about and talked about and talked about. And we're made to feel guilty for not doing anything. So the other choice is, what do? We roll up our sleeves and we figure out how can we do something on our own small part. Well, everybody knows that, or everybody's like on board with, recycling at this point. People were trained to go out and they have two containers out at the curb, and you put your cardboards and your newspapers and your, plastics into one container, and you put the trash in the other one. And then we wonder what actually happens after it leaves. But we feel good because we're doing our part there. But I know that in some cases that, these things aren't really being disposed of or recycled in the way because they haven't figured out a way to make it all work yet. So anyway, what things are we doing for show, and what things are we doing that actually make a difference? What are the things that are we just doing things that make us feel good, or are we doing things that actually make a difference? So kind of just wrap it up here. I'm for clean air, clean water, and healthy living. And I don't know anybody who's opposed to those things. I think we all want that. And I'm for an environment that's friendly to all life on Earth. And that includes all humans, that includes animals, that includes fish, that includes plants and trees. I want to take care of all those things. And I want those things around for, the next generation and the next generation and the next generation after that. So, and I'm not interested in trying to control the environment. The environment is going to take care of itself, but I am interested in figuring out what I can do for myself and what I can, how can I do it makes a difference, and not just show stuff, not just putting things into one trash container versus another one for recycling, but feeling like things are really happening as a result of that. So that's what I'm for, and I'm not interested in listening to a bunch of proclamations from large organizations or governments that talk platitudes but deliver very little. And I think we're losing confidence in those organizations to actually deliver. So we need to figure out how to take care of these things on our own. So I am interested in learning more, what I can do day in and day out that will make a difference. And I believe that if enough people knew and understand how they could make, that what they could do, like actionable things that actually did make a difference, then, we all started doing our part, then things would come together. And I believe that that's what's happening, and that's the direction that we're going in. And I think that the idea that there's going to be some big, massive, like this is what we need to do, proclamation is just not going to come, but it's going to be lots of little research projects, lots of little experiments that come along. So that's a great way to segue and to shift to our guest, who is publishing the Green Living magazine that's going to talk about all of those things. So let's see. We see Dorie is in our back green room waiting. Hopefully she's been taken care of. Let's see where. Oh, there she is. I'm still learning how to click these buttons and make. Hello, Dorie. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Steve. I'm really excited to be here. How are you on this wonderful Friday morning?
Doing great. I know that where I live, it's snow and icy on the ground, and I'm assuming I know where you live. I'm assuming there's no snow on the ground where you are this morning.
There is no snow on the ground. I was talking to my friend that is back east, and he was showing me all the snow in Pennsylvania, and we were barbecuing, and it was very sunny.
All right. Well, we'll just give it away. You're in Arizona, so there we go. So welcome. Thanks for getting up this morning and joining us on the show. I talked about the environment and how it's important, and we're all in favor of clean air, clean water, doing whatever we can, and yet it's difficult for people to know what to do. And so one of the things that you've decided to do was you created this magazine, and you've been publishing it for 10 years now, and it talks about exactly that, like what people can actually do to make a difference in their day in and day out lives.
Definitely. I feel that being good to the planet Earth is so important, and anything that you do, from things that you do when you go to work, things that you do at home, things that you do when you're vacationing, is so important. And I didn't grow up as an environmentalist. When I started the magazine, it was a business opportunity for me, but then I came to realize that, wait, I did grow up, and my dad had a garden in New Jersey, an acre garden, and we had great food, and then from eating from the land. And then I was horseback riding, and I was blessed to be a foreign exchange student in France. My girlfriend is in Bordeaux, and she is drinking wine in Bordeaux and on a boat, and I put rural instead of metropolitan, and I'm in this little village in the south of France in the Basque region with 1,500 people, and I'm milking cows and goats and just learning how to farm. And it was an amazing experience because I saw the birth of a baby cow, and it changed my life forever. So.
Wow. I didn't know any of that. So this is fascinating. And I totally did not follow the rules of my show format, because the first thing I like to do is actually read a little bio on somebody and then play a first-time guest welcoming theme song. So I'm going to, we teased everybody with some of the things we're going to talk about, but let me go ahead and take just a minute and read a little bio so people know who you are. And then we have, like I said, a song that we play, and it's called the First-Time Guest Theme Song. So can we go ahead and do that? Are you okay?
We can definitely do that.
All righty. So Dorie Morales is the principal and publisher of Green Living Magazine. Green Living Magazine is a premier eco-conscious lifestyle magazine centered on your daily life and the way you express yourself as you live, work, and play green. They offer the latest in products, fashion, wellness, and home, while enlivening you to make a difference in our environment. Their content is modern and has a widespread reach. Green Living Magazine is designed to empower you with new ideas and inspirations, using nature's resources to lead you to a more sustainable life. The Green Living Magazine's vision is, and I love this, the vision of Green Living Magazine is a world where people live, work, and play sustainably, leaving the world a better place for future generations. And their tagline is simply your conscious life. So we love living a conscious life here at American Gumption. So Dorie Morales, welcome to the American Gumption Morning Show. Thanks for joining us. And let me play that song so that we can get out of the way, and then we can have the rest of the time to just enjoy our conversation.
Well, thank you for having me on the show again, Steve.
All righty. Dorie, have you ever had a marching band welcome you to a show before?
I have not. So thank you for that.
All right. Well, good. Welcome. I usually just like launch right into that, and somehow I ended up I was so anxious to start talking about what we were going to talk about that I just like started talking and forgot to do. I didn't follow the format of my own show. So, well, good. So welcome. So you're over in France, and you're an exchange student. And did you mean to go into like more of a metropolitan area, but you kind of mistakenly went to rural, or how?
Right. I meant to check metropolitan because I love city life, but then now I've come to appreciate rural life. And the family that I lived with 30 years ago, I just went back not last summer, but the summer before to visit them. And they everything they do is completely organic, and their farm is 100% sustainable. So I'm like, here we are 30 years later. I have a sustainable magazine. You're doing sustainable farming. It was pretty awesome. And then they even had a magazine in their store that was Le Plein Naturel, which was a green living magazine in French. So I'm like, oh my God, it was really cool.
It's really kind of interesting and funny how these little moments, like in something that like maybe was an accident or a mistake, turns out to really have that impact and effect on your life. So I love that. I love that story, and how you just were exposed to things that you weren't expecting to be exposed to, but it made an impact and difference in your life.
Definitely.
So, now that was 30 years ago. And then I know the magazine is only a little more than, 10 years old. So what happened in between, what the first, 20 years of your professional life? What are you doing before you became involved as the publisher of the magazine?
So, obviously, I went to college, and I got a Bachelor of Fine Arts. I actually was fortunate and blessed to go back to France in college, and I went to Aix-en-Provence, and I studied painting and drawing and art. And so I have a media arts, creative writing, and studio art degree. And I always knew I wanted to be in advertising. So I kind of created my own advertising background. I worked in sales for a couple years right out of college. And then I started working for the Apartment Guide magazine. I was a salesperson, then became a publisher of Apartment Guide. And then my current boss at the time, he went and opened up an apartment magazine up in Portland. And then he came back and said, hey, Dorie, you want to open an apartment magazine here in Tucson? And so there were two main players, Apartment Guide for Rent and then Apartment Finder. So when we opened the magazine, we already knew who we were selling it to. Mm-hmm. So we opened the magazine, and then we sold it 3 years later. And then my former business partner, he started Green Living Magazine. I came in like 2 months later, and then it's been my journey ever since.
So it wasn't, you didn't necessarily, you knew you were in publishing and in advertising, but you didn't necessarily, that seed that got planted 20 years earlier, you weren't necessarily going down that path all along, or were you? In the back of your mind, did you somehow, like as you look back on it, did you somehow see how these pieces all were connected?
I don't think until I actually had the opportunity to work with the magazine and start the magazine, till then I started reflecting and saying, when did I find this appreciation for the planet and the earth and the animals and taking care of them? And that's why I chose to be, I'm a pescatarian, hopefully going more vegetarian and more plant-based, but I do have to say, I love sushi, and I could probably eat all plant-based sushi, but every once in a while I like some fish still. But
so the magazine,
your carbon footprint to be plant-based.
So the magazine gets started. Here it is. You just had your 10-year anniversary not too long ago at the end of 2020. When you first got started, is it a lot different today than it was then, or when you first started, what were you doing, and how did it evolve to what it became today?
Well, in 2010, starting a Green Living magazine in Arizona, Arizona was a lot more conservative 10 years ago, and there was the housing crash. And I used to say, if I can make it through starting a magazine in 2010, I can make it through anything, because not many companies were looking at sustainability and the planet and things like that. So it was definitely an uphill battle. But I think more and more, 10 years ago, people weren't as familiar with GMOs and composting and, everyday aquaponics. That wasn't like mainstream words that people were talking about. And, how the fashion industry is the second largest polluter after oil and gas, and what it means to be really looking at how your clothes are made and different things like that, which are, very typical conversations today.
Yeah, we the last 10 years has seen a explosion in consciousness as far as people going, well, wait a minute, do we need all this packaging for something that we get that instantly ends up in the trash can? And so there's like a kind of a radical rethinking on all of this. So it seems like you're in a pretty good place, to educate people and people. There's a hunger for knowledge as far as how do I go about living a more sustainable life.
Definitely. And being more conscious, and especially since coronavirus, I think people are looking at things and taking time to really focus on their breath, and then look at the water that they're drinking and where their water comes from and where their food comes from. And, taking a few minutes to go earth and put their feet in the grass and really connect with the earth and get outdoors and hike and make a lot of connections that they weren't. If you look at probiotics, building your immune system, anything to do with outdoor gardening right now, vitamins, those industries are booming right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I've had a guest on who does have a probiotic product, and so it's all kind of feels like it's connecting together, and there's this level of consciousness that's raising. So your magazine comes out, I think you do 10 issues a year, or?
Correct, 10 issues a year. So we do a combined December, January issue, and we do a combined June, July issue as well.
I'm going to go ahead and just throw this current month's magazine up on the cover. Tell us about what this month's magazine is all about.
So we have Zoe Deschanel on the cover, and she actually has a vertical growing company called Let Us Grow. So we're really excited to have her on there. And then a local woman, Dana Lamb, has a company that's all about connecting with your mate. And so she has fun environmental date ideas as well. And we have a lot of different recipes. We've got cool products. We've got a He Said, She Said, which is also a husband and wife that do a lot of product reviews, and they're very tongue-in-cheeky in it as well. We have a sustainable travel articles and design articles, and plant-based, a new plant-based restaurant as well, are some of the main topics that we have running in this issue.
So you cover a wide spectrum of topics. So it's not just like one particular idea in terms of how to live a green life, but it's really like your entire life. How does the publisher of the magazine manage all of the different people who are contributing to this whole thing? I mean, it's there's a wide variety of topics.
There definitely is. I have an editor-in-chief, and I also have an assistant editor, so they manage the digital content, and then Michelle manages most of the print content. But we try and stay in the main categories of the magazine, which is technology, design, businesses that are doing things for good, and food, which is savor, and many other topics. But then, obviously, if there's a trending topic or climate change or environmentalism or anything like that, we're always open for other articles. So if people wanted to submit an article to us, they can definitely do that online.
I'm assuming you have some people who regularly contribute, and maybe staff writers, and then you also have contributors who just come in from the outside. How does that process work? Where do you get your content? How do you balance, that, or getting all of that?
So Michelle and Kylie. Michelle normally has a column every month. Kylie, which is our assistant editor, she has a column as well. Rick Coggins is one of our columnists. He actually had shared his journey in terms of he had stage 4 cancer and his whole wellness journey, and now he writes about different health topics because a lot of people don't connect the dots between sustainability and health and wellness. And if you're not healthy, how can you be a good steward to the earth if you're not feeling good yourself? So we've gotten calls from all over the country for people that want to subscribe to the magazine just to hear Rick Coggins' journey. And then another columnist we have is Karen Langston, and she does the Sustainable You, and she writes on health and wellness as well. And then we have guest columnists that come in on a quarterly basis as well. So we're always open to new story ideas and new writers as well.
Great. I know that you initially began the magazine as more of a local magazine, meaning basically just the Arizona area or even the Phoenix area, I guess. And then, but really, and I asked you this question, and this was the first time we talked. I asked you, does every city have a Green Living magazine? And I was surprised at your answer. Tell us about where Green Living fits into the marketplace with this idea. Apparently you are in a pretty nice spot.
Definitely. We started 10 years ago, and when our 10-year anniversary we had Deepak Chopra, which is one of my favorite people. I really like everything that he discusses and the science behind consciousness. And so we rebranded the magazine.
There we go. There's your 10-year anniversary issue. I just threw it up.
So we did a whole new logo, a whole new look. And instead of being Green Living Arizona or Green Living AZ, we are now Green Living Mag. So we're hoping to our goal is to expand into the Southwest, and then hopefully expand on a national level.
Well, great. Well, good luck with that. I think it's necessary. And I was surprised to hear that there wasn't more of this type of content out there, because I think there's a real hunger to know, what can I do on a day in and day out basis to make a difference. And even though like one person doing these little things doesn't necessarily solve the problem, if lots of little one persons doing that, then we got something.
Definitely. And it's really, I've been obviously in the magazine industry for 10 years, and this is the first magazine that people actually will write me and say, either a male or a female, and say, I read your whole magazine cover to cover. And then other people have said, I've been having issues with GI problems, and I haven't been able to find a product that would help me. And I found these products in your magazine, and my GI problems people have gotten rid of them. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it really becomes a lifestyle if you're going to, and I'm partnered with Spirituality Gone Wild. My American Gumption brand is part of a larger group of people like myself who all have this idea of conscious living and making the human experience a better experience for everyone. Everybody has their own little flavor of it, but together, we're more powerful than we are when we're just individuals, and that like mindset that was like, I'll just worry about me and I'm not worried about the next person. So, but I loved what you said about it's your health, it's your mindset. It's like, how do you actually manage the environment that you're in, whether you're using like a probiotic cleaner or as opposed to, these, chemicals that don't necessarily lead this long-term sustainability and health. So it's a lifestyle. And I like that you're bringing it all under one roof. And then of course you're adding a little bit of celebrity and people who names that we recognize that are doing what they can do. And so it all contributes. Definitely.
Bill McGibbon is one of the green pioneers, and he said, someone One of his quotes is, "What can I do to change the environment?" And he said, "Nothing. Join a community and then change will take place." So it's exactly what you and your spirituality gone wild says. One person, you can make simple solutions, which we'll get into soon, but for yourself. But if you really join a community of like-minded, eco-conscious people, then you can really make big change.
So you are the publisher of the Green Living magazine. What is Dorie Morales doing herself, private citizen Dorie Morales, doing to make sure that she's living a eco-friendly life?
Well, I happened to just pick up some things that I had around my house, and then I can talk a little bit more, go into more detail about what I do in my life. But I wanted to show a couple simple solutions, and that's what I say to people. It's not like you have to put an aquaponics system in your house or try and do something huge. Just start by looking at, like, do I really need that straw? Could I bring in my own straw, or can I bring in my own grocery basket, or my own grocery bags, or look at my food containers. Do I need that in a to-go container with that styrofoam? Aren't there other solutions? So those are just some thoughts for you. But for example, you'll see I love jars. And this is some grapefruit body butter that was just made for me, a kind of a DIY product for you. And then again, my jars, mason jars, but you can take orange rinds, and you can use orange rinds for multiple purposes in your house. And one is, you could take the orange rinds, lemon rinds, and boil them in water. Now you have an indoor air freshener, but you can also put them into vinegar and water in a jar. And then now you have an all natural cleaner that you can clean anything in your house with, which is awesome. Instead of using plastic, you can use beeswax to cover any type of container in your house. And then I'm a big lover of kombucha. And so this is kombucha, but Agua Kefir didn't actually make this kombucha. My husband made it. So we get the SCOBY, and we have all different flavors of kombucha, and we reuse the bottles, and we make our own kombucha, because it's usually anywhere from $2 to $4 to buy one kombucha, and that can really add up. So we started making it at home. And then back to the jar. Everything's kind of jar centric today, but pearl barley, you can put it in a jar, you get it out of the plastic bag, or buying in bulk is another huge thing that you can go into your markets and buy in bulk, and then just fill your jars up every day. And then you can even put, for men, you can even put your nails and different things like that into your jars as well. I had mentioned containers. You can actually take a metal container into the restaurant with you, and you've got your own portable to-go box. Or if you have kids, you can use these for your kids' lunches. You don't have to use plastic bags, which I'm not a big proponent of plastic bags. This is the Stasher. It's made out of silicone. You can actually cook with this. If you buy the larger ones, you can cook fish, or you can steam vegetables in these, which is absolutely amazing. And then this is a new company that I think we're gonna be featuring in our upcoming issue, and they're out of Canada, second largest company in Canada. And these are eco-friendly dryer strips. So instead of having laundry in a big plastic container, you put one of these strips, and you can do your whole wash. And think about how much, this is how they come. So I'm a big proponent of the True Earth laundry strip. Covering a glass, you can use this instead of using plastic wrap. You get these, they're made out of fabric material, and cover a jar. Buying handmade soap for your body that doesn't have a lot of waste, so you don't have packaging. It just comes with this little piece of paper around it. I'm a big proponent of no waste. So you could buy someone a gift, and then you can wrap it in burlap, and then you can reuse the burlap for someone else later. And instead of wrapping paper, you can use the burlap to actually wrap a present. So those are some simple solutions. And then I got a few more candles. If you like candles in your house, make sure that your candles are made out of soy wax or beeswax, so they're more eco-friendly. And then I got this rechargeable candle light, and it's a oil diffuser, so it can scent your whole house as well. So those
Wow.
are just some simple tips and tricks that you can do and make conscious decisions around your make conscious simple solutions conscious decisions and how you buy and looking at packaging, because if you think about it, when you buy stuff, and just think twice about anything that you buy, like Amazon, things come to you in plastic packages and you can reuse the plastic package containers, or look at shampoo. Again, it's another, they normally are in plastic, but you can actually buy shampoo from bars, and then it's a lot less waste. And anything that I buy, I really look at, can I reuse the product into a glass jar, or how is the packaging? Because there's way overconsumption, and packaging is a big proponent of waste. So
I like your idea of the little metal can as a to-go container where you take that in, and yeah, there's all kinds of ideas like that we could do. And I'm going to guess that each month in Green Living magazine, this is where people learn about these sort of ideas and tips and concepts.
Definitely, yeah, simple changes that you can think about it. And just looking at how much water you use in your house, and instead of, like, if you don't drink a whole glass of water, you can put it into a bowl and then go water your plants, your indoor plants or your outdoor plants, instead of throwing water down the drain. And then looking at there's also different water systems that you can use as well. And there's air purifiers that you can put in your house to make sure that you've got the cleanest air in your home, because you mentioned water and air as being your two hot buttons that you were concerned about. And all the products, also everything that I have my own aquaponics garden in my house, so we grow our own food as much as possible. And then I'm a big proponent at shopping at local farmers markets, because you're supporting the local community, and the local farmers and the local growers and the local artisans as well, instead of shopping at major grocery stores. So, and then supporting local restaurants also.
You said your water system, agroponic?
Aquaponics. Yeah.
Aquaponic. Tell us what that is.
So basically, the aquaponics system is a fish tank, and it actually grows food. So the fish, when they produce their waste, it gets filtered through, and that's how the fruits and vegetables are grown, and is through the fish waste. And so you can have lettuce, any types of fruits or vegetables or herbs you can grow in the aquaponics system. You have to have wicking beds to actually grow potatoes and cantaloupes, but any type of lettuces, zucchinis, different things like that. And you have to make sure to balance the water. But what aquaponics is, it uses less water than traditional farming. So especially in Arizona, being that we live in a desert, we really want to be mindful of the water that we use. And, another simple solution is turning off the water when you're brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
Or my husband turns off the shower in between rinsing, and then he'll save that water into a bucket or into a bowl, and then we can water the plants indoors and outdoors as well.
Did you have to train him to become more eco-conscious, or did he train you to be more eco-conscious, or have you been encouraging each other?
I think it's the latter, because I think he grew up, his mother was very mindful and very spiritual. And so he and his brother has an environmental engineering degree. So I think a lot of that was really ingrained in both of them at a young age. So he balances, and then he's actually a member of the McDowell Mountain Steward. So when you go out to hike, he's gone through all the training to help people on the trail and clean up the trails and different things like that. So I think we're both inspiring each other.
And I know you have at least one or two kids. What do they think about this? Do they think their parents are crazy, or are they adapting this, and are they growing up with this mindset? So hopefully our next generations will even, go further than we're going with it.
So my oldest son is definitely more conscious and more mindful. He goes to he's up in Flagstaff right now, and which is very, they believe in conservation and very mindful up in northern Arizona. And so he definitely, from a nature perspective and from an eating perspective, he eats pretty clean, and he's very cognizant about his waste. And sometimes he'll even send me like a net zero waste video. Hey mom, I found this for you. So that's pretty exciting. And my younger son, who's 14, he's very into working out, but he doesn't eat as healthy. He knows he should eat more healthy. I was actually impressed last night when he said, hey mom, will you buy me some carrots and some grapes at the store? But when he can, he likes to eat chips and a few other things, but I'm trying to at least get the healthier kinds. So go to Sprouts and get the better chips.
Maybe your older son will be able to write for the magazine one day.
Yes.
Well, good. Well, this has been great. So what is your, as the publisher, let's kind of shift it to a business mindset just a little bit. I mean, what is your typical day as the publisher of a magazine like? And I'm sure it's like there is no one typical day, because you're always dealing with something different. But what does the publisher of a magazine do day in and day out?
Well, the publisher oversees the whole operations and the finances, the accounting, the sales, the marketing, editorial, creative. I do have an editor-in-chief, but I do meet with Michelle and Kylie and connect with them to make sure our editorial content is great. And then I have an amazing creative director named Dawn, and just making sure that I'm in line with all the creativity and all the design work. And then I have a VP of operations, Diana, meeting with her to make sure the accounting, everything is going right with billing. And then I have an amazing sales team. So I've got and I know that, one of my sales team members, Sherry, who actually connected us. And that's why I'm able to be on this wonderful podcast. And then I've got Julie and Andrea from the sales team. And then we also have some amazing interns that work with us. And then I'm interfacing with customers. I'm the face of the magazine. So I'm doing podcasts and radio shows and sometimes TV programming as well to get the awareness out on the magazine. But really, I'm thankful and grateful for the partners of the magazine and our supporters and our readers that really inspire me to continue to create the best magazine that we can create and the best readership for our audience.
I can see I'm going to point out, people should be able to see it. greenlivingmag.com is the website. And I know that you not only do a print edition, but you also do an electronic edition that people could get.
That's
Am
true.
I understanding that correctly? So
yep, they can subscribe, and we also have something called Greenie Member, so they could become a Greenie member. So they would get a print or a digital subscription. They get an eco-friendly or a completely organic cotton T-shirt that was printed ethically. And then they also get invited to all of our events, which obviously we're not having in-person events right now, but we will be doing some online events in the next couple of months as well. And then they get discounts from our current partners and advertisers.
And all of that can be found at greenlivingmag.com.
Yep, and greenliving.com/shop. And then we would love our community to connect with us on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Pinterest, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and then YouTube as well.
Yeah, no, I appreciated working with your staff to help promote this the show coming up. So anyway, we thank you for that. So
Definitely.
Well, good. Let's kind of wrap up by talking about there's these, and my monologue touched on the idea that somehow, maybe it got the ball rolling in the sense that like we became more aware of what to do, but it ultimately comes down to like common sense things that everyday ordinary people are doing to make a difference, as opposed to hoping that some big world power is going to suddenly solve this problem and challenge that we have. So just talk about the idea that common sense things that we can do. And you mentioned a lot of them already, so I don't need you to repeat those, but what is the mindset of a person who's living, their conscious life, or your conscious life, as you use as your slogan goes? I mean, what is the mindset of that person in today's world?
Well, I think it's just taking your life and looking at different things. How, first and foremost, look at your energy usage in your house. When you're walking into your house, a lot of people don't think about, oh, should I look and see if my hot water heater's on? Does it need to be heating all day? Or, do I only need to have it on when people are taking showers in the morning? And then looking at your thermostat, looking at different, we have a system that we put into our house that conserves air conditioning. Obviously, in Arizona, in the next couple months, we have to be mindful of our heating and cooling. So look at your energy usage, look at things that you're putting into your home. For example, all of my floors, my youngest son had a ton of allergies. And when we moved into this home, we had carpet, and carpet, a lot of toxins and pesticides and different things can be in your flooring. So we switched out all of our flooring to tile and wood floors and bamboo flooring as well. We looked at our paints, and all of our paints that we paint at the house are fully sustainable. Again, we looked at our food and making sure that we buy all of our food that's organic. And some people can't afford to buy all of their food organic. So there's certain things like the Daily Dozen, which is 12 fruits and vegetables that you should definitely buy organic because of the amount of pesticides on them. And you can find that online. And then there's the Clean 15. So the Dirty Dozen would be like strawberries and apples would fall on that list, as opposed to on the Clean 15 would be like cantaloupes and pineapples, to give you a couple of examples as well. Looking at putting an air purifying system in your home, especially with everything going on in today's world. Looking at using a humidifier when you're not feeling well, as opposed to taking medication. And then looking at when you do feel ill, looking at what are the alternative remedies that you can use, as opposed to buying pharmaceuticals and things like that. I'm a big, huge proponent in fashion, and looking at, for example, the top I'm wearing today is Eileen Fisher, and she's a sustainable fashion designer. But then I also am a member of Swap Society. You can join a membership and you can send in all your clothes and then you can swap them. And I've had a few different swap events. A girlfriend of mine, every October, I clean out my closet and all of us women get together and swap clothes. You can also consign, look at buying secondhand clothes, because today, and there is the statistic on how much clothes, if we were to go around the world and everyone was not to buy one new item of clothing, how long do you think that we would have clothes?
Well, I've actually done a little bit of thinking about this idea. So I don't know the answer, but I'll guess that it could be 5 years.
It's 8.
It's 8. Yeah. It's crazy is what it is. It's insane the amount of stuff that we have. Same thing with furniture and with, if the amount of stuff, there's storage lockers filled with, like, these storage lockers is the craziest thing. People have stuff that is just never really going to be used again. And it ultimately ends up coming out, but there's stuff in there that would be useful for repurposing and being, anyway, so it's a crazy, there's a big
the storage industry, and so many of the professional organizers talk about that, and it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But again, with furniture, I have a friend that is an eco-conscious interior designer. And so all of her, I'm actually looking at buying a couch from her this weekend. So everything's made ethically and sourced ethically. And so you can buy all your furniture that way as well. And then look at the car that you drive and look at how much you're driving as well. If you can afford an electric car or a hybrid car, I would highly recommend that. And trying to think of a couple other things right now, but growing your own food and what you eat and being healthy and exercising, and really, again, looking at your mindset, journaling, or just connecting with yourself and your community, I think is really important. And, you know, a lot of people say, I don't know how to be green. I'm not doing anything green. Well, hey, you're driving an electric car, you're reusing things, and you're recycling. Everything can be used a second time. So.
Yeah. No, I think if we were to somehow shift the mindset from, people like kind of feeling like a security in having a lot of stuff that ultimately they're not using, to kind of shifting to just having what you need and getting better quality things of what you need that are more friendly, and then keeping them for a longer period of time, rather than that disposable mindset that we were, preached into, thinking was a good thing. So it's all changing. Everything's, evolving. And I love that, you are leading the way with your Green Living magazine and helping people to, break through to new ideas. So thank you so much. This has been great.
No, it's been awesome. And I mean, just look at it, like you could go through your home and look at, like, can I change out one thing? And, for me too, even if I look at my bedroom, it's like an organic mattress. We spend 33% of our life in sleeping, and also looking at the sheets. Are they organic cotton sheets? Because some people may not know this, but cotton is one of the dirtiest crops. So if you just switch your sheets to organic cotton, and then also an organic mattress, because you don't want all those toxins and off-gassing when you're sleeping. That's not good for your mind. And just walk around, look at what's in your bathroom and look at the products, and could I just buy more natural products in the bathroom, and then everything in your kitchen and the way that you store your products, and how much plastic do we need? Can we switch it out to stainless steel or glass too? So. And then also your work too. You said bring it back to business. Like, do you need new electronics? Can you use recycled electronics? Are you unplugging your electronics when you leave work at the day? Because there's vampire electricity if you don't unplug your electronics on a daily basis. And do you need plastic forks and knives at your office, or can you use glass containers or porcelain containers and metal forks and knives? Why do we need plastic? And even ink cartridges, if you have a printer, use recycled ink cartridges. And do you need brand new furniture in your office? So yeah. And do you need to use that much paper too? Can you just do it electronically?
Dorie, I think I love what you're doing, and many of the guests that I've had on, this is show number 126, but there's been at least, I can think of like 10 different guests that all kind of have this same theme. They have one specific little piece of it that they're talking about. You guys are doing something, like where you're trying to bring all these pieces together. So I just think that there's a momentum going, and I really appreciate that you're, leading the way with Green Living Magazine. I encourage everybody to check it out. Green Living Magazine, greenlivingmag.com. There's the link. And if you put a dash or forward /shop, you'll get right exactly to where you need to be. What's your final message to the people who want to live a more conscious life?
I would say go to our website and read an article, or make one simple solution. And whether it's lessen your plastic use, or switch to a reusable straw, or take a reusable water bottle with you everywhere you go. Those are simple things that you can do. Or look at your energy use look at your energy usage and save yourself some money. So.
All righty. Well, thank you, Dorie. Please come back again. We would love to have you, continue this conversation, because it's only going to, the story is really only beginning. It's in its infancy as far as what is still to come, as far as people becoming more conscious and more aware of the things that they can do. And cumulatively, it's going to all add up and make a difference. So thanks for what you're doing.
Thank you, Steve, for having me on. It's been a pleasure, and I've really enjoyed it.
All right.
I will share about your podcast with our audience and with our viewers, and make it a more conscious community.
Great. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All righty. Well, that's Dorie Morales, the publisher of Green Living Magazine, greenlivingmag.com. greenlivingmag.com. Sure appreciate that she joined us. And there's an energy. There's like a collective thing happening where it's like, it's not good enough to, just keep doing things the way we've been doing it. So, and it comes down to just education, becoming smarter about what we're going to do and how we're going to make a difference and how we're going to live our lives. So it takes gumption to live a green life. All righty. So that's it. I'm going to wrap up. Let's see my notes here. Tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday, so I won't be here. None of us will be here on Saturday. Well, you'll be wherever you are on Saturday, but we won't be all together here. Alrighty, next Monday, no live show. I'm going to take a 3-day holiday weekend, President's Weekend, get away, go to the Pocono Mountains. On Tuesday, I'll be back with Sylvia LaFair, the author of Gutsy, and she has a stress mastery masterclass. So if you have stress, you're going to want to listen to some of the simple ideas she has, and a class that she can, help you reduce the amount of stress if you're feeling that in your life. Wednesday, Rebecca Glensky-Kopage, the author of 100 Days to Self-Love. We all need more self-love. We all need more self-love. So that's Rebecca Glensky-Kopage on Wednesday. Serenity Sam's Sing a Song regular feature that's going to be every other week for the next couple of months. We're going to test it out and see how it works. And then we'll see, we'll either continue it or we'll figure out something else fun to do. So anyway, that's coming up next Thursday. And then a guest on Thursday and Friday, still to be announced. Everybody have a great weekend. If it's a 3-day holiday weekend for you, enjoy. I will not be here live Monday, but I will be here on Tuesday. All right. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Tuesday.